Hi there, it's Marian from Gardens of Delight. You're watching this video because you got a Christmas arrangement kit from me. And here's the how-to part. I wish I could be there in person and teach you how to do this, but here's the next best thing. The only thing you're going to need to do this project is a pair of secateurs or something to cut twigs, and a pair of scissors or a knife. I also recommend gloves, and I recommend clothing that you won't ruin. Sometimes the sap from the greens will stain your clothes, and it's really hard on your hands, so wear your protection once again. So in your kit you received a pail without holes in the bottom, which is important, and you received some floral foam, Oasis. I'm going to show you what to do with this. First thing you need to do is soak this in water, minimum of 10 minutes, until it stops bubbling. This will absorb more than twice its volume in water, so doesn't matter if it's warm water or cold water. It's incredible how much it dissolves. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your soaked floral foam and you're going to fit it into your pail. In order to do that well, we need to cut it. I use a pair of scissors. And it just splits apart very easy. And I'm just going to fit the pieces of floral foam into the sides. You can use a knife or you can use the scissors. Just cut it, it's real easy. Split it, stick it in. And that's that. Now your pail is ready. First things first. In your kit, you got some cedar. This is the wrong side of the cedar. This is the right side of the cedar. You can tell by how easily it drapes one direction. Cedar is also very flexible. So if you need it to come down over the sides of your container more, you just have to gently bend it, and that's going to happen for you. You got pine, which is gorgeous in how it drapes. And you got some kind of fir. There's two kinds of fir. This one is the white fir. First thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the cedar. It's quite simple actually. These pieces are a lot bigger than what you need in a pot this size. So usually for myself, I like to cut them up a bit before I start. Make sure that any greenery in the bottom bit is cut off. And this first layer isn't, it's not going to show that much. It's more for the draping and to help cover the bottom of your pot, so that when you set it down, you're not seeing like a big pot and a small arrangement. See, some of the cedar has really long fronds, so all I'm going to do is cut those off and use them individually. See that? Once it starts to get bigger, I'm going to save that one because that's a really good upright one, and I'll probably use that in the middle of the arrangement. See, they come in quite a variety of shapes because guess what? They're all natural. People expect, I can't tell you how many people expect their plants to be perfect in a certain shape, and they get so disappointed when their plants don't behave. And it's like, well, plants are people too. They don't behave the way we expect. Funny, huh? Oh dear. Don't worry, you'll get it. Put on some nice music. Put on your best gloves and just enjoy. My cedar's all ready now. See, this is the way it's gonna go. I want it to drape. So I'm gonna bend it a little bit. I'm just simply going to push it in to the floral foam. Trust me. I'm gonna raise this up a little bit so that you can see it a bit better. I think you can see that a little better. The reason that I'm not leaving these bottom pieces on is because when I start sticking a lot of things into the floral foam, I don't want to break it, and I want to be able to fit everything that I intended in there. So that one's a bit too long. It's good to give it a fresh cut as well. So the bottom, if you haven't cut a piece yet, just give it a little snip. So there's my bottom layer. Simple. The next layer is going to be pine. Same routine. I'm going to cut that pine. That one's a good size. So I'll just cut the end off it. Cut it up, take that stump off. I've got, see, when it's like this, I can put it in and it drapes over the side really nicely. So here we go, pine, the next layer. What I'm doing when I go like this is I'm looking for a piece that stands up nice and straight, so eventually I can put that in the center. So I'm just watching for the piece I want. That's a nice piece. I'm going to save that. Now, here's the other thing about the pine part is when I put this in, I don't want it to lay horizontal. I want it on an angle. So I put it into the foam on an angle so that we want it to be like a fountain shape. And this is just the very beginning. So don't get all stressed out. Don't fill it up with, there's lots of space in the foam. Can you see that? Don't get too carried away about shoving all your greens into one spot. We'll go back later and we're going to fill in all the bulb patches. Now see, here's one of those upright pieces that I was talking about, and that's really nice for in the center. So I want the shape to start filling up toward the center, right? So that it doesn't all sit right at the bottom and it doesn't all sit straight up and down. So that's really, I think, the hardest part for people. is to get that angle developed nicely. So there. How many more pieces of pine? Okay. Yeah. And there's a second piece of pine. This one's draping slightly this way. This one is going to drape slightly the other way. And I'm just going to put them in pretty much back to back. Okay. The next step of your arrangement is the part I call the sticks. Now, in your kit, you received some kind of sticks. I tried to make the kits all different. So what you got is probably not exactly what I have here, but the principle is the same. So this is some dogwood, Canonensis. I want to keep it fairly upright because I don't want it to poke somebody when they walk by. So all I'm doing is I'm looking at the top of my pot. I'm making kind of a triangle with the dogwood. So see how nice that looks? Just nicely spaced. Now I have some other dogwood here that I have painted orange, painted orange, that I painted white just to give it some nice contrast. And I'm going to put that in. Same method, fairly straight up and down. And if it's way too long, just cut the bottom off it. I had to lower my pot here so that it would fit inside the room. See, these get quite big. There. That looks nice. Okay, so now I have the sticks in. Now it looks pretty sparse. I'm going to change my camera angle here. This is where we need to start filling it in. Otherwise it looks, I can see the foam down in the bottom. So I'm going to take my fir. We don't use a lot of fir, partly because it's very expensive. And partly because it has a nice, it's not soft like the pine and the cedar are. So it's a bit harder to cut up. Take these bottom bits off so that when I stick it in the foam, it's not going to break the foam apart. And I'm just going to place it This piece has been cut, doesn't matter, because by the time I'm finished, you're not even going to know. This is just to give it that nice darker variation on the green color. It's so beautiful, isn't it? I need to cut these ends off. And there. Now, one of the things to keep in mind with the fir is it has this lovely silver back on it. So I tend to put them on more of a angle so that when you look at your arrangement from different places, different angles, then it looks a bit, I just like how it works. And I like how it works with the white painted dogwood. There. Now, I need to fill this in and make it drape even more. So I'll just pick up pieces of my cedar. Pieces of my once again, make sure if you put it in this way up, look what you're going to see. You want to see more foliage. Now, something to keep in mind is that when you finish this and you go to put it outside, put some water, fill it up with water, and then let it freeze, because that's going to help keep it last for a long time. I've had these where I just simply remove the Christmas part of it and keep it as a nice green planter into February, depending on the location. Works better in the shade, lasts longer in the shade. So see how I'm just adding greens. I'm just kind of turning it, looking where I need some more variety. I wish we could do this in person, but oh well. I'm just going to keep putting my greens in until I've used them up. Sometimes there's a place that I've cut the branch and I can see it as I look at my arrangement. I'm just going to be mindful of that and make sure that I put something drapey in that area so that I can't see it. Where did it go? See, now I've covered it up so well I can't find it. There it is. So all I do is I make sure that that's right over top of it, and now you're not going to see it. I've got a piece of pine here, and I've got a bigger kind of stumpy area there. I'm going to put this big pine in here, cover that up. Do I have any spots that I can't see pine? A little fur there. Pine. See, I don't want to leave this. I'm going to take that off. Then I can use that and let it come out over the edges. All right, that's the greenery. One of the other things you got in your kit was pieces of decor. Now, one of the things to keep in mind with all of the decor pieces is that they're made on wire. So you don't have to keep it the way it came in the kit. Spread it out a little bit so that when you put it into your arrangement, it has more presence and it looks better. for lack of a better word, it looks better this way. See how when I spread it, it just improved. Some of them have a little bit of white on them. I personally don't worry too much about that because there's so much going on in these arrangements that you won't even notice it. If it bothers you, just pull it off. So I'm just going to spread these all out nicely. And I'm just going to stick them in fairly upright. And if I need them to cover anything up, I can do that. Now see how that doesn't that just fill the whole thing in beautifully? Now what I'm going to do is I'm looking for the spot that I think should be the front. And I think it should be right here. I like this area. It has room for some more prettiness. And I'll just use this contrasting piece. Stick it right in here. Don't like that, just going to pull it out, put it in a little bit lower. And once again, it's wire, so I can spread it if I want to. See how pretty that's getting? Now, here's my favorite part. You in your kit got a sugar cone, at least one. You also got a sugar cone and you got some wire. Okay, so take your wire. Sometimes I put one in your kit that is pre-done just so you can see how it's done. It's really simple. Just wrap your wire. Just wrap your wire into your cone, pull it, twist it just like a twist tie, and that's that. That's that. See that? Easy peasy. Now, look at how the natural color of this cone enhances this arrangement. Now, I'm going to look for something really sturdy, like one of these bigger sticks. I'm going to take my wire, and I'm just going to twist it around. Pull it in so that I like the angle it's sitting on. And then twist tie it on. Simple as that. See how everything's just adjustable? Nothing's too harsh. Now, I don't want to just leave it sitting like this. That looks a little ridiculous, doesn't it? So I need to balance it. That's where these smaller cones can come in. Same routine. Take my wire, wrap it around the end of the cone, twist it, find where I want that. I like it when pieces are draping between the cones like they would on a real tree. well, not like this stuff would be on a real, not like this stuff would be on a real tree, but, and I also want you to keep in mind, you're going to be looking down on this. So keep that in mind, that when you're building it, you want your angle of view. If you're going to put it on a really high, in a really high spot so that you see it from, say, you're at the bottom of your stairs and you're going to look up at it, make sure you pay good attention to how all the bottom drapes. If you're going to be looking down on it, if it's down low, if it's on your porch, you're going to be seeing it from both angles. But just point of view is really important to these kind of things. I like how that looks. And it just adds a little bit of, you know, there's nothing natural about these things, but you can almost fool the eye. Because we've got the fresh greens, you can fool yourself to think these are real berries. Because we got the cone and the fresh greens, it makes you think that it's all fresh. So just don't go too crazy on it. That being said, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, it's okay, but it does need something sparkly. It's Christmas. I'm going to add these cones in that have some silver spray paint on them. They're pretty tacky on their own. But once you put that into your arrangement, now you've added that festive piece. See that? I have a couple of pieces of cedar left over here. Just add those in. Don't like that there. I thought I did, but I don't. So it's going to move over. And my cedar's going to go there. See that? Much better. As long as I stick it into the foam, it's not going anywhere. There. That's your basic arrangement. This is the back. It's going to go against my wall or whatever's behind it. And there's the front. Isn't that pretty? Simple as that. I might add some little pieces of other styles of arrangements just to give you some ideas, but that's your basic step. Those are your basic steps. So there we go. There's your basic homemade Christmas arrangement that you can do with your kit. So I do want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for trying. I hope that this little activity brings you some joy and some comfort and hopefully some laughs, because it's not always as easy as it looks. And I really hope we can see each other next year. Marion, Gardens of Delight, thanks for watching.